Kunal, the one stock from within the broader markets, given the outperformance in the broader end any which way that you flagged off, was Mankind. And let me throw in some of the other names there, the rebound in IDFC or in OFSS. Does it look like these are all sustainable moves?
Not really, Aisha, because I would still believe that when the overall market trend is still fragile or maybe into a consolidative range, it's difficult to anticipate that names like IDFC First Bank or OFSS, they could provide any kind of a meaningful uptrend. And purely because of the fact, so Mankind Pharma could be a different chart altogether. The stock, so the pharma sector overall is going through a big revival. So maybe I think in that context, you might probably expect Mankind Pharma to come back into a revival, try and cross the immediate hurdles around the 2450, 2500 kind of a zone. So there could be a potential 5 to 7% further swing upside. But for IDFC First Bank, especially after the news flow, few days back for the stock price and that sharp correction which you've seen, it's going to play an effect. So it's more of a sentiment dampener for IDFC First Bank, and the stock has to do materially, quite different. A 3% recovery after a 20% plus kind of a correction for the stock price may generally not be a very strong indication that the entire position start to reverse. We need to see some bit of more positive signs emerging. The reason why OFSS also could be a stock which could probably disappoint is in the last 6 months. There was a phase where IT stock rallied by 20%. Even in that phase, OFSS was an underperformer for the mid cap IT names. So I'll probably just keep it under the radar, not initiate any kind of a major trade for either of these three names.
Well, Pharma has been very active of late, like Kunal was just mentioning. There's a Citi note on Torrent Pharma as well, wherein they're maintaining their buy call on Torrent. And the target price has now been upped quite significantly from the earlier 43.80 to now 5100. They're saying that the value, they value the Torrent Pharma stock at 40x, the March 28 estimated pre-amortization EPS, healthy earnings growth, industry-leading return on capital market metrics. They're saying should manage to help and aid the premium multiples that Torrent Pharma currently enjoys. But that said, while of course pharma is one pocket which has been holding out very well, the other space that Kunal was flagging off just now was of course defense. BEL has been holding out. But Kunal, what about some of the shipyard stocks? What about HAL, etc.? Do you think the others will play catch up to BEL now within defense?
See, I think it's a good time to try and bet into these names. The only concern over here, Aisha, is the timing, because price wise, like Mascot Dog, GRSC, HAL, I think many of these other defense names, they are placed very well for themselves. So there has been phase where the news flow has been negative for these stocks. The price damage has been significant. The time-wise correction has also happened. And we try and compare this with the 2024 highs for these stocks. And from those 2024 highs, these stocks have fallen very sharply in the last 1.5 odd year. There have been corrections of almost 30% to 40% plus into these stocks in that kind of a time band. So all the classic ingredients are in place: a time-wise correction, a price-wise correction, as well as news flow being negative for the sector and for many of these stocks. So I think in that context, the risk reward is positive. The only concern is that how much time will these stocks take to try and come back into a breakout for themselves. So I think if someone is looking at a short-term trade, I'm not sure whether he'll be enthused with the kind of waiting he'll have to do into this sector. But if for someone who's looking at a say 6 month, 1 year plus kind of a time horizon, then I strongly believe that HAL, Mascot Dock, etc. I think many of these underperforming names, even Bharat Dynamics, to that basket. I think all of these stocks are placed very well, and I think one should take a bet over here. But the time frame is very crucial over here.